What's up, guys? Welcome to another episode of The Art of Collecting. This is The Collector. Now, in today's episode, I'm going to be showing you some collectible figures from the King and Country Battle of the Bulge range. Now, for those of you that don't know, King and Country are a company that specializes in making toy soldiers or collectible figures, if you like. Now, they mostly make historical figures, so and usually it's about war. So you were talking about World War One, World War Two, Napoleon Wars, Vietnam War, that sort of stuff. But sometimes, occasionally, they make things like for example, colonial Hong Kong, or the Victorian era, or Egypt, for example, historical Egypt. So in any way, in today's episode, I'll be showing you this set called Winter Action. It's a trio of American GIs who takes part in the Battle of the Bulge. Have a look. So let's examine each figure in detail. We'll move the two away first and we'll do them one by one. So we'll look at this guy with the binoculars. As you can see, he's got the M1 Garand, a water bottle, netted helmet. He's on the walkie-talkie looking through the binoculars. I thought that was pretty cool. Whoops. And if you look at the knife, clipped onto the backpack. So it's a pretty detailed figure. What I like about it is the snowflakes on the green jacket. Now, if you remember the Battle of the Bulge, it's fought in the Ardennes during 1944 December to 1945 January. So that's true the winter period in Europe. So you'd expect some snow on their clothing. So there you have it, some snow. So that's a pretty cool figure and all. Now let's move him aside and let's look at the second figure. Second figure is probably my favorite figure. This guy, he's just crouching down. If you look at him, he's got his face, he's got that mustache, it's fairly typical of Second World War soldiers, and he's got that little cigarette in his, right here. I'm trying to point with my thumb right there. That's really pretty cool as well. As usual, M1 Garand, ammo belt, knife, and water bottle. He hasn't got a backpack, but that's okay. Yeah, pretty cool. Look, even his boots has some snow, some paint and some snow on it. So I thought that's pretty cool. Probably my favorite figure out of the tree. Quite a nice detail on the face as well. Here's a little bit of a close up, so you can see the detail there. It's pretty good. Okay, let's move on to the final figure. And this guy here, he's holding the carbine, and again, he's got a little holster for a revolver, a pistol, water bottle, ammo belt, and he's got that typical green jacket that you can see. It was a standard issue for the US Army at the time. Again, you can see the snow on his sleeve there. Again, I thought that was a good, some very good detail there. So the other really cool thing about this set as well, it's quite a universal set. And what I mean by that is that you can use it, these three figures to pose at different locations. So for example here, I've got some sandbags, and as you can see, they can, you've got this guy with the binoculars looking out, you've got the guy with the carbine sort of aiming, and the chap with a cigarette smoking behind giving instructions. So that's pretty cool. I mean, you can leave that, you can position them in many different ways. I guess that's what I mean by universal. It's some figures, they're only good for one or two scenes, but this one, you can do them in plenty of different scenarios and alternatives. So that was an example there with a sandbag. Let me show you another example. So this here is another King and Country set, the M1A 157mm anti-tank gun. This was also featured in the Battle of the Bulge. So, with a bit of imagination, you can position the three soldiers, in different positions. So you've got, let's say, the binoculars guy, staring out, trying to get the elevation right for the gun people. You've got the guy with the cigarette at the back, just so we're seeing matters, and you've got the guy with the carbine just trying to aim out. So as you can see, it's quite a universal set. You can you know, you can do quite a lot with it in terms of how you want to set up your scenario or your scenes. So that's all for today's episode, folks. Now, if you like what you see and you want to see more of this type of content, please leave a like and subscribe to the channel. But for now, this is the Collector signing out.